This episode of Speakers of Eidolon is made possible by our generous patrons. Special thanks to our supreme and master speakers, Circa Barakeel, Remy Asalia, Omeji Cat Comet, Erisu Yamakawa, Arcadia Lunashine, Dramavian, Alex Franco AV, Nina Grimstarter, Casey Schaefer, Daimos, Lily Black, Hans Grenade, Sapa Chakwatol, Faris Chantoru, Cletus Oreo, Quick Levin, Luke Leonatrell, Cires, Icy Lee, Lyria Rain, Pamela Isley, Umbral Wind, Naive Arino, Celeste Razgris, Elenriel Maximus, Edwin, Bob CC, Fabs and Voidworm, Raimi Maverick, Kodred No, Mira Miri, Winebow Brood, Bay Barbalay, Kaisa Regina, Usora Akari, AJ Brainswordson, Suno Shikano, Chesha Saltiri, Gideon Ura, Buster Gearhold, Azuta Starbreeze, Camille Grineau, and Nat Clay. Support the show and become a patron today at patreon.com/SpeakersXIV. Thank you.
This is Speakers of Eidolon.
Good evening, Aorcians. Welcome to Speakers of Eidolon, episode 230. I'm Lakeel Bravestone, and I'm joined today by Rollo Des and Georgi Wiston.
Hello.
Hello. It's another week. Another week of, you know, not the best. There's not a lot of news still. But boy, we are getting closer and closer to a certain announcement. We'll talk a little bit about that and our plans for how that's going to be covered in a little bit. Our main topic, a great discussion. We'll be discussing something that was posted on the subreddit, which sparked some discussion internally here about dungeon etiquette. I feel like we've talked about it before, but now we have like someone did the research. And we'll talk about that later in the show. Letter from the Producer Live, part 62 times have been announced. We'll talk about that and what that means in a little bit. And of course, we'll be reading MogMail, speakersxiv.com/MogMail. I'm still trying to figure out what's happening to this fucking website. It makes... So I opened okay, you know what? I'll save it. Stay tuned for the post-show. We'll be reading questions from the Syndicate. And now I can talk about it. Channel updates. I'm just going to start right off the bat with the website. I don't know what's happening. So I opened a ticket, and I'm like, why can I not access my website? And the website host support replied very quickly. I'll give them that. And they're like, I don't see any problems on our end. And I'm like,
Oh. That's always nice.
Interesting. And I'm like, well, every time I go to it, it says service unavailable. And they're like, no, I can't replicate this at our end. Okay. So I gave up. I immediately yielded. I'm like, all right, so it's my fault. So I'm thinking about either just switching host because they're useless, or I have to do. The thing is, there's so much on that website that's already been like I've set up framework for like the Roar archives, and I've been building the SOAR like map stuff. It hasn't been released yet, but it's in the background. All of that is gonna have. I'm gonna have to rebuild all of that.
So the problem that it was the MogMail section that was wrong, right?
All of it, Rollo. The entire website will at certain points stop loading.
Okay.
So it'll be like, and it'll give you like a service unavailable message. It says there's too many requests to handle at the moment. I did say that as well, and they're like, no. There was like today you had 30 people visiting. That is well below capacity. So you should be fine. So I don't know. Working on it. But yeah.
Did they actually visit the web?
Well, they claim to. They're like, oh, we can't replicate the error on. I'm assuming they'd at least go to the website to have a look. But we'll see. I don't know. I'll fuck around with it a little more. Yeah.
Random question.
Yes.
I went to the website, and I guess Georgie's the one that's been posting all the podcasts now.
That's another fun error. It has all of our yes. Originally it was me, but then when I gave you administrator accounts, it wants to like give Georgie comes first in our list of names. Oh, so it automatically just puts an author on, and it goes from the top. So Georgie is always the author of every post. So there you go.
Wonderful work on the website.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Georgie, for helping out. Right, so moving on. There's some patron. Actually, they're all patron updates. Movie night is on the 28th. There's a poll in the Patreon chat right now. It's not a poll. Sorry, it's the suggestions thing where you post your suggestions. On the 26th. This should have gone in the other, oh, whatever. On the 26th. You've
done this 2 months in a row.
Yeah, I know. I know. On the 26th, it's the 1.0 stream. West Shroud, I believe. It's finally time. And on the 29th, Core. No one cares. But Core is out on the 29th.
Don't be mean.
Sundered Skies, I believe, is the name of the MSQ that will be going through. Patrons getting that on the 29th. I'm sorry to non-patrons, but as it currently stands, it will take a while before it goes public. But we'll see. Right. Let's move on. This week in 14. Yes, go on.
Can we mention what we're doing for the live stream?
Well, I thought we would mention that when we talked about the live letter.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was a channel update or not. So.
It is technically a channel update. No, but it meshes better with the live letter announcement because we'll just we'll segue into that. All right, this week in 14, Rollo. No, did you start? It doesn't matter. You just started.
I'm already going.
Yes, you're going. Yeah.
So aside from me just gripping my hand warmer all week because it's fucking cold. Electric hand warmer. Nice. I did S-Guard restoration. Yeah. I ranked. I got on the 100. Sadly, only got 68th place. I actually tried to shoot for 69. Yes. I really did, but I was 10 points off.
That was so sad, Rollo. You were so close.
And if you're curious as to how low the scores are on Zalera compared to others, to get like 68th place, it was like, what, 2,500 points? It's very
different from mine, Rollo. Very different from mine, indeed.
I tried, though. I spent some weekends gathering, crafting. Gathering's a lot harder to do than crafting, I feel like.
Weekend?
Well, yeah, like some of my weekends.
Okay, weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aside from that, I've been doing a lot of the Ishgard stuff too, the Fates, but that's coming to a stop because also on Zalera, the progress bar has grinded to a halt because the rankings are over.
Yeah.
And no one's doing it. And it has jumped like maybe 10% or so since I checked this morning at like 6 a.m. It's now like 3 p.m. or something. That shit ain't gonna get done anytime soon. But it was fun while it lasted. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Okay. Georgi?
I forewent participating in the Ishgard restoration this time. I ranked 2 previous times. I do not need to do anything this time. It's not fun. I care about myself and I don't want to do it again. But so instead, I decided to continue leveling Ninja. It is very close to cap. And then I will move on to my final job left level, which will be Dragoon.
Oh.
Ninja is...
You like Dragoon?
No. Okay. No, I like Dragoon.
I
liked
always
it.
save Dragoon for last because it's like, well, I didn't do it this time. This time I didn't. I don't remember what
You
my
said
last.
Monk for last.
Monk was last this time, but it has traditionally been Dragoon. Dragoon was like when Heavensward came out. Dragoon was on like 40. No, wait, I was all 50 for Dragoon, so it must have been Stormblood, where Dragoon was like in the 50s, which was very depressing.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't level Dragoon during the Dragoon expansion.
No, I did not.
How are you liking Ninja? Anything jumping out at you?
I like it less than Monk, but I like it more than Samurai. It's fine. I think the fact that the dot has been removed from the combo is good, but it weirded me out at first because I was expecting it to still be part of the combo.
Yeah, a lot of muscle memory. You got to undevelop sometimes.
Yeah.
I like that it has a AoE combo now, but that's the case for most classes.
Yeah. All right. Also want to mention that the reason, I mean, my dislike for Dragoon isn't so much because the class was ever bad in like Heavensward or any of the other expansions. It is the jumps, and in A Realm Reborn, Dragoon was difficult. It was also very difficult in 1.0, of course, where it had You think animation locks were bad in A Realm Reborn? 1.0, my dude. That was that's where floor tank really was a thing. That's I haven't done. I've just done like boring tome capping. It's just and also.
Do you have all your pieces yet? You should have like the full 500 set.
Oh yes, we should have our weapons now, which I do, and I think you do as well, Kyo.
Yes, I think I have everything. I need the right side obviously now, but yeah. Yes. What is the weapon eye level?
500, isn't it?
520.
520.
Oh, it's 520. Okay, so it's better than.
Oh yeah, because
it's better than Emerald.
Yes.
Okay. Because it's 510. So yeah, all right. All right, that's what we've done in 14 this week. Let's jump into what little we have of recent events. And, of course, main story in recent events, Letter from the Producer Live, Part 62. It's coming on February 6th. Patch 5.5. It's after the announcement, so it's going to be weird, because it's going to be like expansion hype, and then right back to 5.5, back to the current expansion. Naoki Yoshida will be accompanied by lead project manager Shoichi Matsuzawa. Don't think I've ever seen that name anywhere. So
no, I don't recall it.
So it'll start on February 6th, 2021. That's a Saturday. For Europe. Well, I think it's. What is it for the rest? It's 6 a.m. GMT. So that would be midnight, right? ET. Are you 6 hours behind GMT, Rollo?
I'm 6 hours behind. Is Germany in GMT?
No, that's Central European. So
I'm 6 hours behind Central.
Okay.
For Eastern.
Okay, so it's like 1 a.m. for you, I think, then. Would that make sense? Yeah, 1 a.m. ET. Okay, yeah. That's Live Letter, part 62. Part 1, it'll be a 5.5 preview, part 1. And then the lead project manager and miscellaneous updates. Now... If you've put 2 and 2 together, you'll realize that this is happening, of course, on the same day as the announcement of the expansion. But there's like a big gap between the two announcements. So for me, if I'm going to use Central European time, so 7 a.m. Central European, and I believe the announcement is at 2:30. Or is it 2
a.m.?
Is it?
It's 2:30 a.m.
2:30 a.m. So last time we had, so it looks like they're just following it matches up quite well with the FanFest announcement and live letter setup, because we found the times that we covered last time on for FanFest, and it was 2:30 a.m.
Japanese FanFest.
The Japanese FanFest, and it was 2:30 a.m. and then I think it was like 6 or 7 a.m. Was when the live letter happened, and back then the announcement was like 2 or 3 hours long. 2 was 90 minutes, 90 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
So
90 minutes long, yeah.
It would make sense that we're gonna get a repeat of that this time. We're looking at some dead time. So let's talk about how we're gonna cover this. So on Friday, February 5th, Friday Hangout will happen like normal. So we'll have 14 and then 12, and then we will keep that until I say we'd need some time to prep. So an hour or half an hour before we go into a break, and then we do live coverage of the event, and then we'll go into a break, and then we'll do something else in between until the live letter, and then we'll do a live coverage. And then, well, actually, we might have a post discussion after the announcement as well.
Yes.
We usually have that. So
I'd be down. We'd have a lot of time.
Yes,
it's prime time
We'd
for
have
me.
a lot of time.
Yeah,
But we also, well, it's also prime time for me. We wouldn't
Not for
be...
the kill though.
no, middle of the night.
Absolutely not. But we wouldn't be able to... We shouldn't cover too much, because then we won't have anything to talk about in the podcast the next day.
True. So it'll be a light discussion at the end, just so we can
First impressions.
Yeah. And then we'll do something else probably in between, play some game, and then we'll do the coverage of the live letter. So it'll be a 14-hour stream, at the very least, a 14-hour stream. So for those that
were missing out on that
go on.
14-hour stream, then you got us.
We'll do it. We'll do it instead. 14 hours, baby. Right. So there you go. That's on Friday.
Explain your sleep schedule to the audience.
I don't have one. My sleep
No,
schedule for
this event. Yeah.
So
I wasn't just asking to explain your sleep schedule in general.
Well, so I'll sleep. So this will probably be the worst sleep schedule ever. I'll have to sleep because for those of you that paid attention, 6 a.m. That 6 a.m. live letter is on a Saturday, a podcast day. So I will sleep on the day on Friday until like the Friday hangout, so that my Friday. So I'll just turn everything around. So it'll be morning for me in my head. And then we'll do the 14-hour stream, which let's say it ends at 8 a.m. And then I'll sleep. I'll go immediately to sleep and sleep away the day, and then wake up and do the podcast. Maximum confusion when I wake up for sure, but that's just how it's gonna be.
Your poor body.
And it's better, Rolo, because I'm just going to get a lot of battery fresh as well to just get me back up.
Your poor body.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll end later. I know, because it's going to be 9 or something. That's when we're done, and it's going to be horrible. So there you go. 14-hour stream. Please look forward to it. Whew. Well, Ishgard Restoration. It is over for now. It is over for now, but it's
the ranking season.
The ranking season is over. Not all of it.
The restoration is not over. Please do not stop. We have worlds
they already
to finish.
did. That's it. We lost. The West lost.
We can report that Tonberry is the first server. What a surprise, right? It's the first server to have completed the Ishgardian Restoration. It was completed on 529 JST with the Culinarian Skybuilder's monument. And it's apparently a sad story because they were thinking... Yeah, go on. You can say it. Tell it, Georgi.
Yeah, so apparently members of the Tonbury server were like working together to make Culinarian their monument because they were like, yes, Culinarians use a knife as their offhand and that represents Tonbury's because they use knives.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no knife in the monument. It's just two pens.
Oh,
that's sad. Yeah, it's both funny and sad because I mean, to be fair, who thought the offhand was going to be part of the monument? They never said that.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I was thinking it wasn't just going to be two main hands.
That's true. That's true.
Isn't that what we jokingly said it would be? Aside from just like the Highlander with whatever it was.
Yeah.
That it would just
it would be someone holding the weapon, the main hand.
Yeah, yeah. Other servers are following suit. All Japanese, by the way. The West lagging behind as usual.
Balmung is the closest.
Balmung is the closest. Also, no one's surprised. But yeah, that's that. Congratulations, Tonberry. However, there is another issue. This concerns ranking. There, members of our esteemed community have. I don't fully understand how this has happened, but multiple people have used alts to get into the rankings multiple times. Which to me feels like a completely pointless thing to do, and mostly just mean. Like, they're taking titles away from people that they already have with their... Do they need it for their alts? For all we know, their alts might already have them. So it brings up the question whether this is on them or on Square Enix for allowing this. I still think it's like it's on them. They made the move.
I agree. I think the multiple characters in the top 12 I would blame on them.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that there was only 3 ranking seasons I would blame on Square Enix.
That's true. Yeah.
I feel like, though, I mean, if they had originally planned to make the same title throughout the entire thing, which is what they said, would have just been locked out, as in, like, you couldn't get the title again or replace. Like, I think that would be the mechanic. What is the purpose of it? I hope it's just a very, very funny joke that an FC did, and they renamed a lot of their characters. Is it even possible?
I think that's also not very funny, because
it's not funny.
It just results in a lot of people being angry at the one person.
Yeah. It's just another symptom of like the great larger problem, because this is a problem with all of the systems in this game. People own housing wards, like FCs just clear out housing, like they own them. They do it with anything they can. They will try to it makes the titles more exclusive, because now there's only one person who has, like, for some of the servers have, let's say 5 people on a list. That's 5 titles that other people were not able to get. So only 5 other titles were handed out on that server.
For this particular job.
For that job. Is that why they're doing it? Is it to make it more exclusive? Because I want to think that there's something else behind it than just being an asshole. But maybe
I just think it's for the sake of it. Because
I think it's just I think it's because they can, and so I think it's a combination of because they can and because they want less people to have the title, so they feel more like special.
I mean, there's always that one guy in Halloween that says, when it says just take one, you take a lot more candy.
Yeah.
Why? Because it can't.
So because this is why, because I've heard a lot of like counter arguments being like, well, Square Enix allows it. therefore it is not on them. I think that's bullshit. What if
Yeah.
we said that to like society, like everything in the world? It'd be like, yeah, but society allowed it. No, that's not. They did that. They were being assholes.
This is how capitalists get away with everything.
All right. Okay. Well, assholes are assholes. If anything, I mean, I have nothing good to say. Actually.
You know who you are.
Yeah, you know who you are. Shame on you. That's all. That's all I have to say. It's also a weird time to do it. They decided to do. I don't know if they did, because this seems to be a bigger problem now than it was last time. Why now? Is it? Oh, is it maybe to make sure that the monument is that one job they wanted? Perhaps.
No, so I could be mistaken on this, but my understanding of how the monument is decided is based on the number of people that do the fates as those jobs in this final phase.
Okay, I see. So that wouldn't. Okay.
So the ranking shouldn't affect it. I don't take my word 100% for this. I'm not 100% sure if this is exactly how it works, but this is what the information that I've seen repeated the most often.
It really is just assholery, isn't it? That's weird. That's so sad.
It's such a weird flex too. Like because you can just go on this page isn't going to be looked at ever again. I'm going to be honest.
Right.
like you can go to this. Will be eventually become an obscure page on the lodestone and see that your name is on there multiple times and your alts, and someone could be like, "Wow, you did that."
Because one would very quickly think, how is that possible? And then other thought, yeah, exactly. That's, people get sus when that happens. How do you get, like, I don't know how many of the worst examples are, but I mean, I've seen like 6 in one. Like, how is that possible?
I can't remember what job. Is this primarily gatherers? Because I feel like crafting is harder to...
It was crafting.
Yeah. The one I've seen
really?
is crafting.
Okay, because I would have thought that expert crafting is harder to bot.
That's true, but I don't know how bots work, so I don't know.
No, I don't either.
No, apparently botting had happened in the last Iscard restoration, like for expert crafts, and it was like, it's known that you can't bot them. So.
Right, okay. Interesting. But you...
And then you have to multi-box too.
Right. But if you don't have to do expert crafts, right?
You do.
No,
if
you don't.
want to get top 12.
Well,
but
imagine if you have a bot that can make...
It would be so time-consuming. Even with a bot...
Yeah, but with a bot, you can leave it 24/7.
I agree, but, like, expert crafts give, like, such a significantly higher amount of points compared to...
Okay.
Just, like, the highest recipe normal crafts.
What was it, like 15 points compared to 150? It's just... It doesn't make sense.
So it wouldn't be possible? Even with okay.
I mean, I don't know the speed at which the bot would be able to work in combination with the game. So it might be possible.
How the fuck did they get? How is it possible?
I mean, you just get all the mats and then you bought it.
You can have literally done nothing else for the last like 2 weeks than this, I guess.
I think they talked about a Japanese player or something in one of the ranking events, and they basically no-lifed it for the entire thing because it was quarantine or whatever. And the number of points they got, it was significantly less. I mean, the person we're thinking of at least, their points were much less than that person's no life spree.
Okay.
So it is possible. So,
okay. Again, they literally went in to just be an asshole. It baffles me. It's just very strange. It's an odd thing to do. But
a funny prank. Everyone in the chat, everyone who's watching on YouTube too, next time we get a restoration like this, everyone change your name to Lakil Bravestone and then spam call them
No! What are you
Don't do
doing?
this.
Don't do that. That is
And then
not.
Don't do that.
No.
I don't
So
support this
no.
idea.
Don't get me implicated in this, Rollo. This is not. No.
Everybody make
No, 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 no.
Multi-box.
No. All right. Don't do that. I will kill you all.
Get top one in every single server. Be one person to get the top one for every job, and then
no.
Good viral marketing for us.
Oh, good. Well, it'd be the end of my account probably. I'd be the first one to get banned for that.
Will it be the end of your account?
Wouldn't it be weird if everyone did that? I'm like number 1 on all the lists, but my actual character is like 0 points. All right. Right, that's Ishgard Restoration. I'm so sorry for those that didn't. Yes, go on, Georgi.
Before we move on from Ishgard Restoration, do you want to talk about like the zone? Because like
the firmament.
We're starting to sort of finish it, and most servers can access at least the floor plan of the entire zone at this point, even if it's not fully constructed. What's your opinion on the final housing zone?
It looks pretty.
We're getting hot springs and saunas. What else do you need? I mean, of course.
I love when you say sauna because you say it with your accent.
That's what it's called. That's the
I
real
know that's
way
what
to
it's
pronounce
called,
it.
but I know it's the original way to pronounce it. It's just not the English way to pronounce it.
It's like when you say a Japanese word, you want to say it in the Japanese way, don't you?
Depends on what the word is. Do you say Tokyo?
No, I don't. No, that's like a
No,
city.
you say
Cities
Tokyo.
are automatically translated.
Okay.
You don't say Oslo. You never say that.
No, you don't. You say Oslo.
Or Oslo, which is how I would say it. All right. Let's. What do we? Oh yeah, saunas or saunas and hot springs.
Yeah, to force that one out.
Yeah.
It's a very big housing zone.
Yes. It's big and it's got. It's like so recently we were gonna go. I just ran towards like the one end of the firmament. It is very, very large. It feels much bigger than any other housing district that we have. But maybe it isn't. But
it might not be. I think part of why it feels particularly large right now is we can't use mounts in it.
True. That's true. There are also no Ethernet shards. So yeah. So
no, but if you're on one of the Japanese servers that has finished it, you will be able to see apparently where the Ethernet shards will be.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they show them in like construction, but they're not usable yet.
Yeah.
Oh okay. Okay. That's cute though.
Yeah. It'll be interesting how they solve this. If it's, I mean, at this point, it's going to become a housing district. So there's no, it'd be very strange if it was not.
I'd love it if it was just a big fake out. You see NPCs living there and that's it. They'll decorate it themselves. You can watch though.
Because if they do, are they going to release it with like all the extra wards that we already have in the other ones? Or is it going to start with a default amount from like around the
Shirogane started with the same amount as the other housing wards at the time, so I would be surprised if they don't do that.
If they do that, that's a lot of housing that will become available.
Yeah.
Surely that will
as a
solve
result,
most of the issues.
Well, just a bit.
We'll see.
I don't want to make that assumption.
We'll see, but they're doing. It depends on when we get the housing district, but
I suspect the housing district will not come until 6.0. Just because I feel like that's all, unless they've already set aside this amount of server space, but I feel like the global health crisis might have delayed that.
Yeah, I will say, I did say solve. That was not the word I meant to use. Relieve.
Relieve.
Yeah. That is the word. Because nothing can really solve the problems with housing with the current system. Because the only solution is to just add wards, but they will always fill up. So you'll just have to keep adding wards forever. But
though we should mention this as well.
Demolition, yeah.
A lot of houses housing plots just entered the market.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird seeing like empty plots on Ragnarok. But yeah, that happened.
I need to see if I can still get a house there. Because
yeah,
there was a lot of them.
Yeah, there. So maybe when Ishgard comes out, it'll be more realistic to get a house when you start playing the game for the first time. Okay, that is yes.
Also, at the firmament, it seems to have 2 exits. One exit into the foundation,
yes.
and it seems like there's another exit on the other side of the map that goes to the pillars.
Yes, apparently, yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. It's going to be a different housing. That's good. I like that this housing district is a little different because Goblet, Shirogane, Lavender Beds, and
Shirogane feels so disconnected from anything.
It does. I really want to move.
All of them do, actually.
Yeah, they all. But
Shirogane
yeah,
it's like on a different island.
Yeah,
it feels like.
yeah.
The foreigner fucking island. Get out of here.
Yeah, the current housing districts all are more or less the same. They have the same shit. They almost have the same layout, I almost feel like. But yeah, I
feel particularly Shirogane and the Mist are very interchangeable.
Yeah. We've been living in Shirogane for 3 years, and we've tried to move, but then I forgot that it cost gil, and we didn't have gil. We didn't have enough
gil.
Yeah. And now I dread the thought of moving again because we have attained more furniture than last time, and I don't know where to store all of that shit for the move.
How many retainers do you have?
But they're full, Rollo.
Why are they full?
Important
what do you have
things like...
What? You get fucking grapes on there? Some
yeah. Might need the grapes one day. I don't know.
5 fucking retainers.
I have a problem.
Yes,
like
6.
So while Mela always keeps stuff that he thinks will be valuable at some point because no one else has them.
No, it's not that he thinks they'll be valuable. It's because he knows he'll never get them again.
Yes. So he will keep that. Me, so please stop. If people trade me stuff, I don't want to throw it away because it's a gift. So I feel like, I got this branch from Nat. I shouldn't discard that. I'll put it on a retainer. And poof! All of a sudden I have 5 retainers and they're all full.
6 retainers.
6 retainers. Yeah, so there you go. I'll clean up. I can get rid of some of it.
You have 6 retainers and one of them doesn't even have a job.
He's just there to hold items.
So many mats and so on.
Yeah. I'll do a big cleanup one day. Right. Okay. What do we? Oh yeah, housing. Okay. Right. We're done with that. Thanks. Thanks, Story, for being here.
Thanks, Story.
Thank you to the Story. Moving on. It's time to jump into the great discussion and the topic: giving feedback to players in dungeons. Right. So what has spawned this discussion is something that appeared on the subreddit. It was by let's see, what is their name? Source, please. It's by Lolis on the subreddit. I attempted to give advice to 80 players across 2 months of leveling roulettes, and I collected the types of mistakes players make as well as how they respond. So, before we show the graphic, think about what you expect. So, there's negative, positive, neutral, and no response. The question, the feedback. Okay, we'll get back to that when we show the graphic. But think about, you know, what you think the general distribution is going to be, and then between the classes. And now I'm just going to show you the graphic. Because it is truly interesting. All right, here is...
It's a really... It was one of the most responded to topics I've ever seen by a user that's not a news topic ever on the subreddit.
Yeah, and here it is. So it it's I am not surprised by this, but I'm
not surprised by the left-hand one.
So the left-hand one. So we'll start for our audio listeners as well. So there are 5 categories. The first one on the left: healer not DPSing / standing still. And here's an example message: try stone 4 if everyone is healed. That's an example. So healer is not DPSing / standing still. You give them feedback. And
overwhelmingly negative.
Overwhelmingly negative response. And it also says here that every non-sprout healer that does not DPS returns a strongly negative response.
Strongly negative.
That is so funny. Because I know it's true, because I've been in these, not as a healer, but like as someone who mains the healer, there is a high threshold for me to like actually, I mean, being me, it takes a lot for me to like be like, hey, you should probably do this. But if a healer is just not doing anything, and I notice, I'll be like, this run will go a lot faster if you DPS.
Assertive too.
It's not assertive. I obviously wrap it in a nice way. I'll be like, we might need some more DPS, and then I'll be like, you can use stone. Like this says, try stone 4 as everyone is healed, so you don't stand. It'll be very boring if you're just going to stand around. No matter how you wrap it in, either no response and they just don't do anything, or they get
which is the better of the two choices.
I prefer that. I'll be like, okay, I'm out. And the negative one is like, I'll play how I want. You don't decide. And I'm like, okay, I'm a healer. Whatever. There is a little bit of positive. It's shared with positive and neutral is about the same.
I would assume the positive one is from a new player that doesn't know better.
Yes. The second one, face pull / extended no stance. An example: pull with unmend.
Or turn on your fucking stance.
Or turn on your stance. Overwhelming no response. It doesn't say that.
It doesn't say how they respond in terms of their actions.
No.
Which is the main problem with this particular format of how the information is presented.
Yeah.
Like, does that neutral... Like, if someone turns on their stance, I would consider that a positive response. Even if they don't say anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what, like, I think everyone's forgotten their fucking stance. And then someone says, hey, you stance. And you're like, oh, shit. And you just turn it on. That's it. That's the end.
I feel like when you say, oh shit, it's probably a neutral response. Because, and then negative. No positive, which is interesting for that one. There's like no, like, I don't know, what would a positive response be like? Oh, I'm sorry, or...
I think most people would respond neutrally to it, because I think it's just such a, like an instinctive thing to, when you see that message, like, oh, I'll turn on my tank stance. I don't need to say anything. Because everyone understands what's happening in this situation.
Yeah.
So it gets off all the time, so it's like...
Right, yeah. So that makes sense. Not using AoE is also maybe makes sense, because it also has. I feel like no response is always going to be very high here.
Yes.
This is from Ether.
I like that the only one where no response is not the highest option is when healer's not DPSing.
I think we'll discuss that more when we're done with this part. But yeah. Not using AoE. That is, I'm I'm bad at noticing that. So I don't really know when I would feel like telling someone to use AoE. But an example here is use arrow/thunder before scatter. No, that's to skip cast. Sorry, use wind pet for AoE pulse. Neutral makes sense, because that might also be like a thing like, okay, I didn't know, I'm embarrassed, I'm not going to say anything, I'll just do it now. I feel like I would do that if anyone told me that. This one I don't feel any particular way about. I feel like this one's pretty much how I expected it to be. Negative is weird.
Yeah, negative is weird.
Yeah.
It does remind me of something very quickly that I don't like about Ninja, in that you don't get your AoE until like level 3. It's really fucking hard.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Fundamental mistakes. Now, here is where I feel like this doesn't explain exactly what that means. Like, fundamental mistakes, is that like use arrow thunder before scatter to skip cast?
It's
like
hard casting like a really long path.
Right. Okay. So. Yeah, that would be a fundamental mistake. So this one is surprising in the sense that there's no negative, because I feel like if you were caught out doing some fundamental mistake, there would be a harder pushback. But then again, maybe fundamental mistakes is just something done by new players and they're more humble.
Yeah. I think most players at like an intermediate or higher level hopefully just understand how their jobs work.
Yeah.
At the very basic level, even if they don't know all the ins and outs.
Yeah.
That would make it a better DPS or whatever.
Yeah. So fundamental, mostly no response, but positive as well. So, but no negative or neutral. Now, intermediate mistakes is also a little surprising, I will say, because that feels like where more experienced players would be, I feel like they would be more aggressive. No. Again, mostly no response. So I guess the last example is that hide will reset your mudra, so try doing that between pulls.
Yeah. I didn't know this.
Yeah. Oh, also, forgot to mention that they have example feedback. So sure. So positive would be sure, I'll try that. Thank you. Neutral is okay. So yeah, and negative feedback is I know how to play.
I like how negative feedback's not even spelled correctly. Like that really puts together this negative feedback.
Yeah.
I think one of the problems that people had with this presentation of information is that okay as neutral, I would put okay as positive feedback.
Yeah. I
think just having neutral and a positive is weird. It should just be.
I feel like they should be combined.
Yeah.
I don't know what a neutral response. To me, not saying anything is neutral. So
I think there should have been mixed feedback, which would have been if they said okay, but then they don't do what you tell them to do.
Oh yeah. But positive overall. Sorry, we'll go on, Rollo.
I think it would have been interesting to see the follow through on it, to see if like they actually did like correct their mistake and not just response from that.
Yeah. Okay, so asking a sprout to pull with ranged attack is like talking to a wall. That's additional information here. Of the players with at least one level 80 job who have also responded negative, none of them have anything on FF logs. So that's additional information for you, I guess. Right. But I guess the only elephant in the room here is that healer DPS thing. And I think we probably should discuss that a little. We'll discuss that and generally how to approach people that are difficult in a dungeon. But let's start with why are healers so difficult to deal with?
I don't know. You tell us. You tell us.
Because I don't really recognize this, like being. Do healers feel like they are better, like that they are so important that they don't need to DPS?
Some would.
Because I can see. I know that there's
healers.
Yeah, go on.
I think some healers feel this way because they are the ones that see the mistakes that other jobs make.
Yeah.
So
They're
they're
like the
like,
observer.
yeah, they're the observer. They witness the mistakes and they're like,
How dare
I
you,
deign
peasant?
to protect you. Yeah, exactly.
I observe you. Yeah, that might be a problem. Yeah, and I think a lot of people also pick healer with the intent to just not DPS. Like, I am a healer. I heal.
You think it's almost a problem of the design of the job? Because like none of the attack, none of the
No.
hear me out.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
I'm not saying that these people aren't maybe incorrect in how they're responding or what they're doing. I think we can all agree here that if you're a healer, you should be DPSing when you can.
Yes.
Everyone likes that. There's no negative. But I mean the damage, like the dots, the spells, like gravity, holy, doesn't really interact with any of the healing stuff, except for White Mage and Blood Lily. That's different. But everyone else, like, it's really disconnected. So I can sort of get that they're like, oh well, these elements don't really, or mechanics don't like interact with each other, so they're not incentivized to do it as much.
White Mage Quest literally tells you that you have to DPS. There is a part of the White Mage Quest, and to become a scholar, you have to be an Arcanist first. So you start as a DPS. Like, it's a lot. It's, I don't know why they're so anti DPS. Yeah.
And even then, well, not anymore, but back in the old days, you had to level Conjurer, so you had to do that. Right?
Yes.
You had to do the Conjurer quest line that said you have to DPS. So they've reinforced it back in the day.
Yeah. And while they've removed a lot of our DPS toolkit over the years, it's still there. I mean, it's I don't know.
I think part of it too, not having enough attack skills. When like you have 15 fucking healing skills, and then
yeah,
is this why they took out our attack skills? Because people didn't want to heal, because the people didn't want to attack. Is that why they have nerfed our
remember
DPS output into the ground?
Isn't that what they remember? I remember when they talked about like they were redoing healers in Stormblood. Was that when they did the big? No, maybe it was Shadowbringers. Was when they said that they wanted a more pure healer. They wanted
I think those Shadowbringers.
Yeah, so Shadowbringers. So they even said it then that they wanted it to be more clear that it is a healer. They did not remove DPS though, and it is still very important that you DPS. They gave White Mage one of the best AoE attacks spells in the game at launch. Anyway,
White Mage, what they do? I mean, what do for anyone else? What does Scholar have? Curie, what does Scholar have?
What do you mean? What does Scholar have for what?
They have Art of War. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, we do have Art of War. That's our only AoE. They took away Bane.
They did.
Yeah, so it's like, well, I mean, Astrology has a gravity.
Use what you have. The problem is ABC. It still applies for healers. Always be casting. Don't stand still. If you're standing still, and why are you playing the game if you're just standing still? I'm pressing like 2 every now and then, like cure 2. Like having fun in 14.
So
cure 1. Oh, a free cure 2.
I'll save that for when my tank loses a little bit of health.
This is a tangent. The free cure is a fucking trap. What is that?
It kind of is.
It really is. You go through it thinking, okay, I use 1 and then I use 2 when it procs, and then maybe 2 when you really need it. It's just a fucking new player trap every single time. Everyone always falls for it.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't remember what I was going to say.
Well, because the reason why it's so interesting is because I've seen this behavior. Like, it is like this clutching pearls if you like bring up anything wrong with the healer. Like, oh, how dare you, I'm keeping you alive. Like, okay, but DPS is just free then. We can just shit on them, like, for not doing anything. But the healer, I am such a poor soul. I am sensitive white mage. Do not talk to me.
Okay.
I have your life in my
I
hands.
literally decide if you'll live or die.
Nastasha, I got my potion. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Also, let us point out that this this survey or this what do you call this?
Data set. I don't know.
Yeah.
Data set. Yeah.
Yeah. This research was conducted on Ether. So this is a North American server.
With a pretty small sample size too. I mean, I don't blame them. That'd be a lot. Of
yes, but when it's this big, there's clearly a pattern, even if it is a small sample size, and I recognize this. Like we have them in we've had them in our comment section every time we've talked about healers that are like, we should be allowed to just pure heal. I disagree.
So, how many times have you guys noticed personally this happen?
Me? Oh, personally, yeah, I've
very, very easily.
Really?
Yes.
As healer mains, it's very easy to notice when they're only healing and they're not DPSing.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see when someone's not casting, but it's like I've always noticed it. Like
it was easier to see them before, because before they would have to cleric stance, for instance, you would notice that they never went into cleric stance. But I still see it. I recognize the spells, so I see when they're not being cast, and it happens very often. I think maybe that might be because a lot of healers,
particularly in trash pools, because gravity, holy, and art of war are not as much art of war, but they're very visible spells.
Yeah.
You recognize that's fucking gravity sound, that's for sure.
Yeah, and holy. If that doesn't go off, you know. So yeah, as a healer main to our fellow healers, DPSing is fine. You can DPS, especially if you're doing fucking Sastasha. You can throw out an arrow at least if you're not comfortable. You don't have to be a master DPS. But
I wouldn't blame too much in like a expert run or something. If they're like,
I would.
If they're new to the dungeon, I could understand it a little bit, but they're still gonna have downtime.
I just, especially in an expert run, Rollo, because you want to get through it quickly. So
I mean, you do.
You help speed it up if you throw out. And remember, especially for white mages, but it applies for all of them. But for white mage, you get a buffer when you throw up holy because you stun the enemies. So you can throw out like 3 of them before they get immune, and then you can start healing again. So pro tip.
And part of DPSing is that it minimizes the amount of time the tank is taking damage.
Yeah.
Which is part of what you want as a healer.
Yeah.
I'll say though, in my criticism to the game as itself, healing and maybe damage doing would be better off if they're more integrated together, you know?
Yeah. I just noticed in chat, I'm a white mage main, and I've had DPS complain at me for DPSing in a level 80 dungeon because I was doing more DPS than them. That's good complaint. That's good. You take that and that is a compliment. Yeah.
It is a compliment.
Have you ever given advice like this at all? Like frequently?
Yes.
Not just one. Okay.
Not frequently.
I remember, I don't like to talk in dungeons, but if I do a dungeon and we're like on the second boss and I have yet to see a single like glare from the white mage, I'll be like, maybe if you like just a little bit, because you have are you watching Netflix? Because I think that's a lot of people just say I'll level white mage because then I don't have to do much in like leveling roulette. You do, because it'll go faster if you help.
Yeah. And
don't worry about getting complaints. Think about how many complaints the tank has been getting, because people complain to tanks a lot. Tanks get, especially from the healers. So that's fine. You can,
I'll say this. One time I was playing Paladin in an expert run and the launch of Shadowbringers or whatever. And if you're a Paladin and you're doing a big pull, for the first pull you might use Hallowed Ground, right?
Yeah.
It's like just 10 seconds, everyone can DPS, just have at it, right?
Yeah.
This healer got so fucking pissed off at me. He was like, "What the fuck? You're wasting your cooldowns."
Yeah. Isn't that weird how, again, we said it at the beginning of this, that's the attitude of some healers. It's like, oh, I'll shit all over this fucking tank, and if he dares speak to me, I'll let him know. Yeah. Yeah, DPS tend to like not be that bad because they're like,
No.
You just gotta hit the buttons.
yeah, that's your job. DPS is
Most
your
of
job.
them light up.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's that. Yeah. Have you ever given any advice, Rollo, in a dungeon to anyone? Like
I tend not to do it just because, not that I'm not like combative, not combative, I'm not afraid of conflict in a video game.
Right.
But most of the time I'm like, it's not really worth it.
Right.
I'm not gonna see this dude ever again. Now I've done it in things like extremes, where I've been people and they've just been like one time I told this dude like, hey, use core at the start as a red mage, because when you manification it just resets. So that's like a free core.
Yeah.
Like I've done stuff like that sometimes, but other than that, it's like only in content where it really matters, I would say anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'd feel more afraid to do it in an extreme, because I feel like you're more likely to encounter people in an extreme that think they know what they're doing and would respond poorly.
Yeah.
I mean, the times I've done it, it's never really been negative. So, or
that means you're probably joining like good extreme groups then.
Yeah. Just remembered now. I brought this up like a long time ago, but I used to be a tank main. And the healer tank like abuse, the angry comments from healers is why I stopped being a tank. Because I was so tired of it. It was like picking on everything. Yeah. I don't usually give advice, but again, I do it if someone says I'm new and they have like a sprout icon. And they're not DPSing as a white mage, then I'll be like, okay, here's a tip. If you use arrow, you at least constantly have damage going. And usually they're pretty chill about that. So I don't recognize aggressive sprouts. I know more of like people who are not sprouts that get very angry if you try to point anything out. So I don't want to say don't give them advice, but if you do, they're gonna get angry at you.
Have you ever seen an aggressive mentor?
Yes.
Have you ever tried to fight to a mentor?
Oh God.
Oh no, but they've been aggressive.
No. I don't want to do that. No. That sounds like a bad time. Yeah. I've turned off my mentor crown, of course, so they never know that I am one.
I'll say that if I am healing and it is a dungeon or something, and you're doing big fat pulls, and I'm not seeing any cooldowns, I will get angry, and I do say something because you're making my life worse. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You shadow wall. You said no. Come on, it's right there. You just did the big pull.
Yeah. I don't think. Have you ever had like anyone give you feedback in a dungeon that was like that got you cross? Like you're like, fuck you.
One time.
Okay.
Just once.
All right.
When I was learning how to play ninja, and I said it before, but at the end of the dungeon, the guy just said, learn how to play fucking ninja. And I got so fucking pissed off.
Well, that's not constructive.
It's not. It was just bullying. But that's the worst I've gotten. And the only I've gotten, thankfully. But I did get very upset.
And I'm sure you're going to recognize this as well, Georgi, is when you're doing content, and this happens so often that I can't even like point. I can remember like doing PvP once, but it happens in any content. Tank gets overly like aggressive, just pulls everything, like pulls more than is normal, and then they die, obviously. Then we all die, and then in chat, in caps, heals. Oh my god. That makes me livid. That makes me so angry. That is the worst thing you can say to a healer. Is like, you did that. You did that. That's not on me. You fuck.
Well, you ever seen like the question marks in chat? Just like
yes,
like,
just question marks.
I'm like, from any time I see that, I just get upset. I'm like,
I have a specific memory again from PvP, and I was the only healer, and I think this was like it was Shatter, and it was a well-coordinated group, which is rare, because they communicated. So we moved in like one big group, and then there was like 2 groups, and then there was a group coming in behind us, and the leader decided it was time for us to get sandwiched in between. So for some reason, they just led us into the middle, and one by one people and I just fucking tried. And then he's like, healer, I don't know if you're aware, but you're supposed to keep us alive. And I'm like, I need to step away. I am not doing this. Yeah, we're not miracle workers. We have limits. We can't keep you alive through that. That's fucked.
Heal. Limits were made to be broken.
No. Yeah.
I think the worst experience I got was it was back because I took a break before Heavenswood and I came back in like 3.1. And I was going through the MSQ and I got up to the vault, which is renowned as being a particularly strong healer check back in the day.
Yeah.
Not anymore. But so we got to the final boss, and unfortunately I wasn't able to we resulted in 2 wipes, and then they were just like, excuse me, do you know what you're doing? And then the other two people left. And then that was the end of the run.
Oh, that's so
no.
Yeah, that feeling. That sucks. That sucks. I feel like I've been in a. Oh, that made me cringe. That's awful. Yeah.
You ever been in a dungeon with someone? When Heavensward came out, I was doing the Airy, and this dude. I did criticize him a little bit. I wasn't angry about it. But he went into the dungeon and all his gear broke.
Oh no.
All of it broke.
Oh no.
He was a dragoon, and we got to the fucking eye thing, and the healer could literally not get them out by like the other DPS out by themselves. And so they kept dying. And the dragoon was sorry by the end of it at least, but like I did just see his health just fucking plunder after every time the durability just goes down. Oh, so it was upsetting, but we did clear it. We did clear it eventually.
It probably wasn't as bad as your experience, Rollo, but very recently I had a leveling roulette run, which ended up in the area, and the healer was a Cure 1 healer, which is already in
classic.
But also
Again,
they were
Cure 1 trap.
They were dressed in all crystal circus tower gear.
Not a fan.
And you know what? They threw out the "I'm trying my best."
Oh
I'm
no.
sorry for them.
That's sad.
So I didn't pick on them.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Well, there you go. I'm pretty sure if this was conducted on Chaos, most of these columns would be gray. No response.
I think you'd occasionally get responded in foreign language.
You know what? That's a good. This is a pro tip again. If you're on Chaos, if you want to shut down arguments in chat, just respond in French. There is a chance that they'll reply back in French, and then you've really done it, mister. But that's a calculated risk.
It sound like you tried this tactic before, huh?
Yeah. Maybe. Okay. Well, there you go.
Before we wrap this up, I want to end with this comment from Tamog in the comment section for this Reddit thread. A lot of other things are mistakes, but not DPSing seems to be some sort of bad life choice for a lot of healers instead.
Well, there you have it.
You should DPS.
DPS.
I think that's an official.
It's actually I don't know what. It doesn't matter what game you came from, because that's also an argument sometimes. Like, oh, in this game, normally healers are healers in this game. That's not the game you're playing, my dude. You're playing 14, and you are supposed to DPS. It's in lore, so you can't argue. And don't be mad when people talk to you. I mean, obviously, if they're being rude, then obviously you are, you know.
Yeah.
You can report them for being rude now. Actually,
yes, you can.
If they're dogpiling you for that, and you know that you've changed or something, or you're trying, like, don't let them bully you like that.
Yeah. All right. That is at the end. I want to thank I don't know why. At the end of each segment, I was like, thank you, case study.
Thank you, Reddit user. I'm not going to say your name. I don't want.
All right. Well, speaking of aggressive and rude, should we read the MogMail first, or should we give context before we read it?
Well, I think you should play the intro.
All right, we're jumping into MogMail. MogMail. Oh. All right, so now do we read the MogMail, or do we give context? I feel like context is required for this.
Context, yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're not going to talk about this for very long, because everyone else in this community has talked about it. So we'll just go briefly over it. There was a Reddit post on the FFXIV discussion subreddit. I like to call it the dark side, the opposite of the subreddit, the actual 14 subreddit, the void.
13th.
Yeah, titled Final Fantasy 14 content creators suck, or whatever. An incredibly aggressive post about how shitty all of us are. Our content is shit. I find it okay. So it's funny I find this very funny because, first of all, what an incredibly entitled post. It's like you just find something you like, and if you don't like, you don't have to watch it. It's that simple.
Free entertainment, and if it's not entertaining, you don't have to watch it.
Yeah. And the people
paid no money for it.
We're not making content for you then. That's fine. That's not for you.
Yeah.
But they brought up like examples of how shitty everything is. But I think the funniest part is that we're mentioned not in the post, but in like a comment. And every time we're brought up, it's as if we are dead. So it's funny because they're like, I miss them, I think was one of them. It's like, oh God, where did they go? And I'm like, we are still here. I think a lot of people brought up, I say a lot. It was just a couple of comments, but these are people that watched Fall and Rise probably and Remnants of a Realm and wasn't aware that this channel is actually the podcast, and then the other stuff is like other additional content. But they were under the idea that we started making the podcast because it was easier than making Fall and Rise. The podcast had been going for a while before Fall and Rise and Roar came about, so it's very odd. So obviously
they think that the podcast is the profitable side of the channel.
Wrong. Also, it shows a complete lack of understanding of what content creation is, and how it works. You think about this. The people in the 14 creative community, who are usually all very good, make content for the community. They are dedicating time in their lives just to make content for this community.
Mm-hmm.
What is this post about? What is...
I really wonder. First off, I think it was a very depressing thread. I think a lot of these people...
Subreddit is very depressing, Roland.
Yeah.
It's for people that have stopped loving 14, but they don't want to admit it to themselves.
Yeah, they're
yet.
trying to cope with it, so they made this sub. Let's not. I don't want them on us. Let's back off from that. But yeah.
All right. But for this part, like, so the big criticism I saw there, like, okay, well, what content do you make about 14? There's nothing to do. Like, what? I mean, you just raid, or you make some more videos, or maybe you cover news sometimes. What else? And I'm like, have you watched any other content creator for any other game at all? Like,
yeah.
I watch some Destiny 2 videos. I like Destiny. It's a good game.
Yeah.
People make like weekly stuff about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it ranges from like raids,
yeah,
to funny shenanigans with your friends, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some lore videos. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what they all do. That's what they all fucking do. That's not bad if you don't like it. That's totally fine. But you can only expect. We can't make the game for you.
The problem, yeah, that's also a problem with the post, is that I don't understand what they want. If you what do you want from the content creators then? Because I'm pretty sure the creative community in 14 is pretty big, and it's pretty it has a little bit of everything. So obviously you'd have guides, and that's normal for any MMO. You want that, and I know they brought up fucking Roar and Fallen Rise. Let me just say this again. 1.0 is fucking dead. There is no new content in 1.0. I can only make so many 1.0 videos. Please. So yeah, that's that. We're still here. We're still alive. And we'll be making this for... I don't know. We can't play. I just wanted to get that out of the way. I think this was an... I think my biggest problem
is the complete lack of like understanding as to what goes into content creation, and that, like, they think that it's easy to make money from it. Yeah, they do. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way.
Just one more aside, by the way. All these people are making things. We're doing these things too. Lukeel's making these videos. We're doing the podcast.
Yeah.
In the middle of a fucking pandemic.
Yeah.
Like.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. They're
people. I'm sorry, but they're people.
Yeah. It is frustrating. And I think the thing that gets me most with the post is that entitlement thing. Is like, But I have some advice for whoever supports or is in favor of that article, that post. Do what I did. The reason why this channel exists is because I thought, well, the reason this channel exists was because one of my favorite podcasts was ending, and I was like, oh my god, there's not going to be like no podcast for this game. I guess I'll make my own. And then I made that. And then I thought, there were no videos about 1.0. I guess I'll make videos about 1.0. I filled that niche. You do that then. If you think that there's something missing, go make it then.
So here's the problem. I don't think they think there's something missing. I think that there's nothing to make. I think they think any content about 14 is pointless, so why make it? And if that's the case, why watch it? Why complain about it?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. But I do have, by the way the post is titled, it kind of feels like 14's creative community is shittier than other creative communities, which I don't agree. I feel like we have a very healthy and good, well, I mean, things have happened in our community, but yeah, overall, it is the content that is being produced by the content creators of this game are pretty good. Anyways, let's jump into the MogMail. It's not all doom and gloom. Let's see. Here we go. MogMail coming now. It's from Kip Monsoon from Shiva. Hiya, fellows. Hope you're doing well. Long-time listener and fan of the show, both on YouTube and the podcast. I just wanted to drop you a message after reading some of the posts on FFXIV discussion Reddit and say that I'm so thankful that you folks use your own time to enrich the community with the content you make. I've been a listener for years now, and you guys are part of my weekly routine, which I actively look forward to. Whether it's walking the dogs or sat on my commute, I've never not been thankful that you're providing my entertainment, and free of charge. I just wanted to send this to you, just in case reading any of the comments or subsequent reaction videos were triggering or disheartening for you. You have my support, and that's the rest of the of the rest of the community you've helped to develop into the positive environment it is today. Keep up the great work, keep being yourselves, and from the bottom of my heart, please know that you should be wholeheartedly and justifiably proud of the content you make and the contributions to enriching our community. Truly, thank you, Kip Monsoon Shiva. P.S. Big love to Mela too. Miss him and hope he's doing good.
I miss Mela too.
I miss Mela too. Mela is, by the way, very much still with us on the Twitch side of things.
Yes.
But yeah, there you go.
If you miss Mela and you want to hear Mela at some point, you can visit the Twitch channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we keep him in a little cage. We bring him out sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Don't worry. I don't. Even though we don't like the post, I don't think we're very affected. We shouldn't be affected by it because
I think it's more funny than like.
I think
something to
at
take to
first
heart.
when I read it, because it has always been like my fear that we've disappointed the community in some way. And when I first saw the Reddit thread, I thought it was on the subreddit. And
Me too. I thought the same thing.
And I immediately panicked when I saw the speakers in the comments. I'm like, oh god, fuck shit.
Yeah.
It's the end. But no, we're fine. And I don't think any of our fellow content creators should worry either. I think keep doing you. I think that's
Keep
that.
making what you enjoy making.
Exactly.
Or don't.
Or
Up to you.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
If you want.
And if you don't like us, or if you don't like any other content creator, you don't have to watch us. You can find someone else, or you can start creating shit yourself.
There is more than a year's worth of content uploaded to YouTube every day.
Yes.
Surely there's something out there that you can find that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Unless you enjoy nothing.
And also if you miss Roar, there's like fucking 50 episodes of Roar. You can go back and watch the because there's no new content. I mean, there is new episodes of Roar coming. There's going to be a PvP one soon, but there's plenty of videos on our channel to watch again if you haven't watched them in a while. I know people do that. Some people have like marathons where they rewatch Roar, which is very.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while actually. I might do that too.
There you go.
I don't know if I'd make it a marathon, but I could rewatch some of the old ones.
I think I would want to too. Actually, it's been a long. I don't even remember what the first episode.
I want to see those Likil's Bravestone's.
Oh, the sausages. The Lala sausages. It's in one. Try to find that one episode. Here's a fun fact about that episode. That's the first time I went, why am I doing this? I was recording for that episode. I'm like, this area is really boring. What am I going to do with this? Yeah.
Hey, don't forget, me and Yaz had a cameo in one episode too. Go find that one.
True. Oh my god.
That
was supposed to be a permanent thing, but then it was just so hard to do.
Yeah.
So I just dropped it.
Effort.
Yeah.
It was fun though. We did it one time.
Was
and
it the?
Yeah.
Don't tell them.
Don't say it. They'll find it. You guys go look for it.
Podcast, but okay.
No. You just find figure out where the cameo is and report back, everyone. All right. I missed the quick news. What?
He's making a joke.
What, a joke
That's
about
what
what?
recent events used to be called.
Oh my god, you're right.
Called it?
Quick news. That's a temporary title that made it on air for some reason for a long time. All right. So don't worry, we'll be here for forever. Not forever. That is a lie. I have lied on air. We'll be here for a long time. That's all. You're not going to get rid of us even with that post, which wasn't about us, but we just made it about us.
No, it wasn't primarily about us.
We're very important. We like to think sometimes.
No, see,
we're dead
this is
for
why
life.
first of all, apparently they think we're dead, so that's fine. All right, next MogMail. Now we're actually on to more regularly scheduled MogMail. So moving on.
Mm-hmm.
It's from Windows Sapphire. Ooh, I wonder who that is. From Zalera. Which of the Scions, past or present, would you want to know more about? Well, we've had our bits and pieces of everyone's backstory throughout the years. Is there someone you think should be highlighted but hasn't? Side Scions, example Hori, Riol, etc., are also fair game.
I don't even know if I want the background of Hori Boulder expanded upon.
I want to know who he loves, who he hates.
Yeah. Minfilia.
I think it'd be cool to know more about Fleming.
Yeah, Fleming. We already know a little, but yeah, we don't know much about her like actual past, like old past.
Yeah, and she was basically like a
pop star.
Yeah,
yeah,
and she was.
And a gymnast too. If you see that 1.0 video, she's doing flips and shit all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, I would want Hori Boulder lore because he's a meme, and I want to know. I don't really know. Do I want to know? Actually, I don't know. I don't know if I care enough. But I don't know anything about him. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is friend?
I want.
Or is that Real? Real's his friend, sorry.
Yeah, Real.
I want to know more about Alphino and Alizé's relationship with their parents. We know nothing about their mother, but we know that their father objects to what they do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I definitely want to know more about the Levius.
I want to know their father's relationship to Louis Soir.
I have to think it's kind of strained with the Alphino, at least.
I imagine it would be... Oh, okay, you're talking about Alphino. I was going to say, I think it's strained with Louis Soir because he's dead.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Maybe Arenvald. Well, we already got someone Arenvald, but
yeah, he got his
I
own.
think we have most of Arenvald's background. I don't think there's much more to Arenvald.
I just like him, okay?
I like him a lot as well, and I wish he was more important. I thought that when they brought him up in terms of importance in Stormblood, that he was going to be important moving forward, but then I came to the realization that he's associated with Alamigo, and Square Enix doesn't care about Alamigo.
I wouldn't mind knowing more about the dead Scions, like all the
ones that Livia killed.
Yeah. 2 dozen of them?
When Livia conveniently killed all the 1.0 Scions. Yeah.
Oh, there's some. Wait, there was
Arenvald's lucky he made it out of that.
Yeah.
Didn't he? Wasn't Arenvald enrolled? Like he had a mentor or something, and he gave him like a shield.
He had 2 mentors. He had one was a Makoto and one was a Ellison, but I can't remember their names. They gave him the armor that he wears now.
Yeah,
that's it. Okay. Or even Real Ida, that's a good one.
The Real Ida, yeah. That would be nice to know more about. I would like to know how she died, like more in detail, because we only really know like she died escorting refugees out of Alamigo, but we don't know how it happened. More about Louis Soir. True, we don't really know much about Louis Soir other than what we learned in 1.0 and through the Bahamut quests.
I know that he left Charlayan because he didn't agree with Charlayan's like position of non-intervention.
So his grandchildren are very much like their grandfather. Yeah, I'd like to know more about him.
It's kind of an interesting cycle where Louis Soir is like a sort of a revolutionary, and then his father probably grew up like not wanting to be like his Louis Soir, and then the Alphino and Alizé didn't want to grow up to be like their dad.
Could you imagine that? You have a kid and you're like, yeah, you know what? Maybe things should be different. And your kid comes out, fuck you, Dad. Things should stay the same.
Yeah, that must be really disappointing for Louis Suave. It's like, oh fuck, what have I done? And so much so that he, well, no, I don't. How is it? Am I allowed to spoil like the Binding Coils quest? That feels like a weird.
At this point.
All right.
Yeah.
So much so that he didn't even trust that his son would come to Coil to like find out about him or anything. He thought his grandchildren would come instead. He's like, my son does not care. My grandchildren will. That's so sad. Yeah.
He looks so dopey too, Father Leveilleux.
Yeah.
You see him in the lore book. He looks like a fucking idiot.
Or something like that. I don't know exactly how it's pronounced. It's a French name.
Yeah.
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 I'd need to hear it in game. That's how I learn how all Elysian names are pronounced.
Yeah.
I want Riange backstory. I really don't know much about his past other than
well, now we're on to main scions, but fine. Yeah, we can probably.
Other than he was friends with Moonbreeder.
Yeah.
Moonbreeder was done so dirty.
Yeah.
Constructed to die.
Yeah.
Built to die.
I don't really like that when they do that. That's a little cheap.
No, I don't like it either.
Yeah.
Sheesh. That would have been a nice, like, they would have been nice characters to bounce off each other. They had really good chemistry.
Yeah.
Moonbreeder really brought out a different side of Oriange.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Oriange has evolved as a character since then. But it was the only thing that really made Oriange interesting up until maybe 3.4.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one mourns her.
What did you say, Rollo? You cut out.
No one mourns her.
Oh, yeah.
We don't really get any reference aside from I guess recently Shadowbringers where Oriange was like, yeah, remember her? She made that was cool.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Oriange brings her up, I think, in 5.3.
Yeah.
About wanting to continue her research on the first.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
We know Thancred's backstory.
We do. We do know Thancred.
There's much more we can learn about Thancred at this point.
No.
All you need to know, he's a man whore. That's it.
No, I don't think that's the only thing you need to know about him. I think he's a much deeper character than that.
Fine, a man whore turned dad. There you go.
All right. That's
already was a dad to Minfilia. He's
a double dad.
People try and make the relationship between Thancred and Minfilia creepy. I don't like it.
No. All right. Next. Wait. No, we already know Minfilia's backstory. We know her backstory quite well. It was literally 1.0's MSQ as well.
Really mysterious. Papa Limo.
Oh.
No one mourns him. Anyone?
No one mourns Papa Limo.
No one has mentioned Papa Limo.
He was mentioned by Lise.
Just
recently.
one. Oh, was it recently?
Yes, it was in Shadowbringers at some point.
Papa Limo is the oldest original scion, in terms of age.
Yeah.
And we know nothing of what he did in the first half of his life.
I know that a lot of people don't like Papa Limo, but listen. He got so much better at the end of Stormblood when he got a new voice actor. The voice actor helped a lot when he changed because he sounded less like a snotty man trying to sound like a child. It was he had a weird voice in the beginning. I know he's he's a famous voice actor. Who is it? Chat?
Nolan North?
Yes.
The North original.
But his voice just didn't work with Papa Lima, who sounded annoying. But his new voice actor really made him more of a character, and then they fucking killed him. That I will never forgive them.
So you can't have Lisa's character development if Papa Lima is still there.
And that too, that was why he died. That's so... He could have given us so much information about what happened to the real Ida.
Or Louis Suave.
Or Louis Suave.
His, best pupil.
Yeah, yeah.
His grandchildren no fucking help, that's for sure.
Anyways, yeah. I feel like Papa Limo should have been alive still, but here we go. Here we are. I mean, he's gone. We have one more MogMail, but we are almost out of time. So, but this one's very short.
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay.
All right. Let's do the last MogMail for today before we wrap up. It's from Giltia from Zodiark. My dearest speakers, I have a problem. I think I'm becoming an Asian apologist. I want to hate them, but their story is just so sad. They killed like 8 to 9 planets, body snatched, committed physical, psychological, and emotional torture, lied, connived, committed homicide, genocide, and pretty much every other type of side, but I still feel sorry for them. They just want to see their loved ones again. How do you guys feel? How do you guys deal?
Well, you see, sometimes I think about it, but then I don't. And then it's fine.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what? All the unsundered ones are dead. So I don't have to feel sorry for them anymore.
all we have to do, we just have
Very
to
dislike them.
Rollo?
Sorry, Rollo?
we just have to remember they existed. That's it. That's what.
Yeah. I feel bad for how they felt because they. I understand. I mean, I would imagine I would feel the same if I was like one day on Earth and then Earth disappeared and I'm like the specter floating around and then I can see Earth being like reconstructed to like tiny miniature Earth. And then I'm like,
good.
Yeah, yeah. Everything is just a little worse than.
It's like Coke and New Coke. It's New Earth.
Yes, and I'd be like, oh, but my Earth.
Yeah, and then God comes down. He's like, "Hey, if you just kill these ants, like, they'll get it all back."
Yeah.
These ants look like people. I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope we get La Habrea backstory because he's the only unsundered that's not really sympathetic in any way.
Because he's crazy.
Yeah, he's crazy.
I remember
But
there was the one time it was crazy, but remember there was the one time that not Louis, I was going to call Yoshi P. Louis Suar. There was the one time that Yoshi P. someone asked Yoshi P, are we ever going to find out his real name? And then he's like, maybe later. So.
Oh, yeah, that's true. He did say that. Yeah. Oh, there's still hope. All right. On that note, thank you guys for watching this episode of Speakers of Eidolon. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Believe it or not, we're still around. Remember to follow us on Twitter at SpeakersXIV, twitch.tv/SpeakersOfEidolon, youtube.com/SpeakersXIV, Discord and chat if you want to join a Discord server. If you're watching on demand, links in the description. You can catch Speaker's Place on Speaker's Place, youtube.com/Speaker's Place. That's where all our playthroughs from the past are slowly emerging. Yes, you can now watch the Silent Hill playthrough, our 7 remake playthrough. Oh, Silent Hill 1, yeah. Silent Hill 7. No, Silent Hill 7.
Silent Hill 7!
Silent Hill 1 playthrough and our... What is the other one? Oh, Final Fantasy 8 playthrough. They're all on there. There you go. Thanks for watching. We'll be back in the post show if you're watching live. If not, we'll see you next week. Goodbye!
Bye.